Let's get dirty.
If you wanna dance with me, you need to get my frequency. Early morning, late last night. The bassline makes me feel
Let's get dirty.
Bassline makes me feel so right.
You know what I'm saying?
Crack it.
far below. 'Cause we've seen 1,000 sunsets, and we've chased 100 nights, and we won't forget these moments, even when we say goodbye. 'Cause it's only the beginning, and the memories never die. Tonight we're going back. Just close your eyes.
Hey guys, what's up? TriCity here. This is our new channel, episode 1. We're starting this channel to bring you mixes and then have chats, obviously about some DJing, music, anything to do with the music industry. We're going to have future guest mixes. So let's just get into it. First episode, what better way to start than how TriCity got started? So here's let's start with our origin story. So, well, I guess we should introduce ourselves because most people know us as just Tri-City. We are two individuals. We're a duo. So, my name's Adrian. Here's Renee. Our origin story. I mean, you
Ooh,
know, it starts back, to 2007, almost 3 years ago, just about. But we can't tell Tri-City's origin story without basically talking about how we fell in love with the music first. Um, if you remember, we used to like to go to Vegas a lot, so just kind of go out there. We were young, wanted to party.
young, wild, and free.
Yeah, so we were like, Vegas was our thing. So, one year we remember we were heading out for July 4th weekend, brother's birthday, and we planned it. We heard of a new club starting, Hakkasan, and we figured, a lot of good reviews about it, huge club. We said, why not check it out? So we went. Uh, music,
Talk trash.
oh yeah, music wasn't a big thing then. We just wanted to party, but we did our research and we heard that there was gonna be a DJ named Tommy Trash. Never heard of him. We were like, okay, whatever, we'll check it out anyways. And I just remember being blown away like by the whole scene. I've never seen that many people in a crowd before, and
Yeah,
the
the
whole
whole the
experience.
whole venue, the whole venue was so cool about that place. Like just walking in, the atmosphere, the ambiance, everything was so cool.
Oh yeah. So we never experienced that. So just hearing the music and the atmosphere. I mean, we never had seen cryo before, so like that was crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So again, we enjoyed ourselves, but what really basically we say changed our lives and it's always going to be connected to us is Tommy Trash ended his set with Reload. Um, and that was just eargasm. Like, never, like, I didn't know what was going on because I was like, what is this song?
Take my hand and
And it just blew us away. Like, the next day, found it, listened to it like 20 times in a row
Yeah.
of how awesome it was, so that just led to like a path down music, just finding so much different music that we didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that changed everything. So, coming back, we decided, we just didn't think too much into it, but we started messing around a little bit with like mixes here and there with like, a little software program that I had. And then one weekend, I remember you kind of mentioned your buddy had a little DJ controller and he was gonna let you borrow it. So
Yeah,
yeah, press forward.
I knew nothing about controllers or what it was, and he just kind of saw that I was getting into it, and he mentioned it to me. Shout out to my boy Alex. And yeah, he mentioned it to me that he had a controller. He just pretty much offered it to me. He said like, "Hey man, you want to borrow it? Like, just mess with it a little bit." And I said, "Sure." I guess he wasn't really getting much use out of it, and yeah, that's when I called you, and that's when we made that happen.
Yeah, and we just like I remember it was a Tractor S4,
Yeah.
and we just kind of like messed with it. We had no idea what we were doing, just kind of playing around, and it was just really for like a weekend, and then you got to give it back, But we thought it was kind of cool, so we're like, hey, we should try to, maybe borrow it again or whatever. But again, we didn't. think too much into it, so we just kind of blew it off. Um, then again, I don't remember when we exactly were like, hey, maybe we should really think about at least trying to DJ. And
I think
but
we pretty much like the first time it was kind of a joke. It was just kind of like, hey, maybe we should be DJs, and we all laughed. And I don't remember exactly when. I'm pretty sure it was we were together at your place like we used to do, and yeah, it just kind of was a joke. But we never, or at least I don't think that first time we said it, it was too like serious. It was just kind of like, yeah, maybe we should. We're already making like little mixes, but it was kind of a joke, to be honest.
yeah, and then fast forward, for me and my background, you know, we're both we both did the college thing. I did it twice. So I have 2 degrees, you have your degree, and quote unquote, educated. But you learn quickly, at least if you're like me, like I've always had an entrepreneur spirit, so not really wanting to work for somebody my whole life. I've always thought about starting my own business, and just always had that. I was always chasing that. The key ingredient for me that was missing was the passion behind it. Now I do really enjoy finance and business, and so I'm always going to have that, but definitely not don't have passion like that type of passion for it. So I thought about it, and our background is sports. We come from sports background. We played ball was life. So we poured so much into that. So we knew we were going to be NBA ball players, so we just played it for the love of it and but took it as seriously as you can probably take it. So we knew that type of passion, so never thought music would be honestly more. So the only thing we compare it to is like, wow, you know what, that music really digs deep inside you. So fast forward, I had started somewhat of a new job, and I don't know what happened at work, but it's just you can only take so much of not doing what you love. I just remember leaving work and thinking to myself, I can't do this no more, man. Like, I got to do something I love. And I remember I called you. I knew you were probably going to be working, but I was like, well, we'll see if he answers. Gave you a phone call. I said, that's it, man. I'm starting it like now. And all right, are you going to come with me or not? But I'm starting. And I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
me calling you.
yeah, I remember that. I remember I was working at Verizon and I had a customer, but something told me to pick it up, so I excused myself and I said like, just give me a second. I picked it up, went outside, and like we said, we kind of already started talking about it, but nothing was really happening. We just kind of said, okay, cool, like we'll start that eventually. And when you called me that day and told me, it was kind of the push that we needed. And of course, I was on board. But I think we needed that something to happen like that in one of our lives, for that to happen. And again, we don't know what happened to you that day at work, but that call kind of started the ball rolling. And before you knew it, I think the next week we had our own controller. So
Yep. Yep. I mean, we went out, got it,
what
and
was
then
it? It was the Newmark.
I don't remember the model number, but it was a Newmark,
Mark.
little small controller,
Yeah.
good enough for
Well,
us at the
compared
time.
to the tractor, like I remember when we got it, I was like, dude, this thing is huge, like the Newmark, and
Yeah.
it actually is pretty small. But compared to the tractor S4, it's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we got it, and we're like, mind you, we have no background in music at all,
Don't know
nothing.
what we're doing.
I'm I'm my in-laws, my wife is a music, her family is music. They've been doing music their whole lives. So, that's the only connection I had. But me, no, like nothing. I had
Yeah.
nothing at all. Not even like a simple DJing, anything to do with that. So we bought it, and first day I remember we were so excited. I forgot what I was doing, but I was like, I'm gonna swing by and stop by. And it
Yeah.
sucks because we couldn't get anything done that day because we just didn't know how to connect sound.
Couldn't get the sound to come out.
That's
Oh
how,
God.
again, we had nothing, ground zero. So couldn't figure out how to connect sound.
Yeah.
But obviously, eventually we figured it out, and just that's it, man. From then on, every single weekend. That was February of 2017, I remember. And from then, like every weekend for hours, like, well, we're not talking like, okay, no, like we were, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours practicing to do to where like we were pouring ourselves into it. Like this is real. This is a real thing that we're gonna do. It wasn't
Well,
something that we saw as a hobby.
that's kind of the thing about us, like everything we've done, like, even when it was basketball, pretty much when we start to do something, we don't really know how to do anything other than to like give it like everything. Um, and it's good that it's two of us because you've always pushed me um, to kind of go that extra. But we just kept learning every week and learning new things, doing research on our own, coming back together like, hey, like, let's do this or let's try that. And it just kept growing.
Yeah. So like, fast forward, August. So what? That's 6, 7 months of straight practicing for hours. So we got good enough to feel like, okay, you know what? Like, we don't want to be bedroom DJs. We got to play in front of people. Like we got to prove to ourselves that we can
Yeah.
do this. So, our first performance, I guess you would say, was we
Let's just
we
say
don't
we conned people. What we did is it was the night of the McGregor Mayweather fight.
yeah.
So we bought it at my house, and I told my friends, my family, and we got people to come down basically to watch the fight. But we weren't even like, we just basically bought it, and we just said like, all right, and after the fight, we're gonna play a little.
Yeah,
So
because we had been
yeah,
telling people like, we're gonna start doing this, and people
yeah,
are like, oh, cool, yeah, try, and then like, but we want to play for you. Mind you, don't think that we had a house full of like 100 people. It
no,
was like, what, maybe the most 10, maybe,
10 at the most. It's not like it was small space, and but that was the idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically after the fight, that's when we got into it. But I mean, just the preparation for that, we were so
Ah,
excited. We
I
what
mean,
we rent
so excited,
speakers.
so nervous at the same time because it's like we're gonna play in front of people, like, and we had never done it. And again, it's a whole different ball game when you're a bedroom DJ playing in front of no one, as opposed to playing in front of people. It's completely different.
Yeah,
Um, so like pause right there. People always ask us, Tri-City, where'd you come up with the name? And honestly, Tri-City, we played with like 2 or 3 names, and we just came up with Tri-City because we were
or we thought
start
of Trinity for a second. Remember, that was the leading contender.
and we started as a trio. We
Yeah.
started as a trio. My brother Eric was going to be the third member. I mean, our biggest inspiration, our basically our heroes in the DJ game, is Swedish House Mafia. Maybe that reveals how old we are and like whatever, but Swedish
Keep
House
it
Mafia are
keep
that's
the
our
secrets out. We're old.
yeah. So we're like cool. So yeah, that's how we started as a trio. Now the whole practice and everything, you know, not everybody's meant to be a DJ, and we got to a point where like we asked my brother like, do you really feel like you want to do this, or do you feel like you can do this? And because we were having a performance come up, and so he came to the decision that maybe it just wasn't for him. And so we decided, okay, we're just going to be a duo, and we are already invested in the name. We figured the name didn't really matter, so we'll stick with it. And so yeah, I mean, you see little guy running around. That's my
That's
brother.
him.
He's always obviously he's so part of us and supportive. So he's there behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the name, you know, yeah, it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, it's still it's still Tri City because whether
Yeah.
he's DJing or not, he's there with us, supporting us, and so he's part of it.
So that's the origin to the name. So back at the first performance after the fight, and mind you, this is August, hottest part of the year, and maybe a couple days before, our performance, was at your house. AC goes out, and it is scorching hot.
One of
So
the hottest nights of the summer. It was AC's out. It was easily close to 100 inside the house, mind you. So it was actually cooler outside the
yeah.
house.
So, but we started, man. We played it like if it was a festival, and we played for 2 hours, and at times the people couldn't stand the heat, so they had to go in the other room where the little fan was, and we were playing to ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like we just felt like we accomplished something. We were like we proved it. We proved that we could play in front of people, um, and we're like cool. Like it was an accomplishment for us. Like because we loved it. So that kind of we're like cool. Like we did it. And again, we're back at it next week and practicing. And we had discussed, you know what? We need to get out there. Let's go promote ourselves. Let's go try to DJ somewhere. So
Yeah.
we checked out some bars, and then we went to downtown Fullerton because we figured, well, I mean, people party out there. Let's go. And so we try to get bar manager numbers. We tried to talk to people. Then again, you better be if you're chasing something, you better be willing to hear a lot of no's or no callbacks or just nothing happening. But you gotta, if you really want it, you gotta keep going. So we kept going back, and finally we had introduced ourselves to the DJ of the night because it was Zings in downtown Fullerton, and they have 2 rooms. They promote them as hip hop, one room, and dance music, basically EDM, the other room. So we obviously went to the dance room uh, with house music, and we got there early, and we waited to the end of the night to talk to the DJ, just to kind of get we don't know, so we want to learn. So we talked to him and said, hey man, like we introduced ourselves, like this is what we're trying to do. How did you do it? Can you give some pointers? So uh, again, he shout out to EJ. He
Hey.
helped us out. He was really cool. We connected and just kind of give us pointers. We didn't expect nothing out of it. We just, again, wanted to learn as much as possible. And sure enough, he kind of mentioned, hey, you know what? I might have a slot open because he would DJ in 2 different spots. Why don't you guys come out and play for the manager to see how they like you? So we're like, cool, great. We got an opportunity to like just play in front of somebody. And so we practiced. I mean, at that point it was like we practiced we figured would be like half an hour, like a half an hour set, and we were like practicing for weeks. Like it was probably 2 weeks after that. And so we show up, we're ready to go. We had to bring our own controller. At the time we already had sold the Newmark, moved up to the Pioneer XDJ
RX. Yeah, the XDJ RX.
Bigger, so I was like nicer. And so he said, go ahead and bring it. We got there, set up, and I'm like, cool, like, where's the manager? Will play. And they're setting up for the night. And sure enough, he says, all right, man, like, we're going to open the doors right now. So go ahead and are you guys ready? And we're like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, you're going to open the doors to people. So
yeah, in our minds, it was just going to be us, EJ, and one other person maybe. And now, as soon as they said open the doors, people start filing in.
He said, like, you know what, man, don't worry about it. Just do your thing. And I mean, dude, I was, I'm an introvert. So I'm like, this is already out of my element doing this. So to be thrown in the fire like that, it was like nerve-wracking. But we had to do it. So
yeah,
first 5 songs, man, like my hands were shaking.
Yeah, my hands were literally shaking. Like I just remember like watching it as I'm like going to touch anything on the controller, and my hand was shaking. And every song, like it was just so nerve-wracking. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. So we think about it, we're not even a year into it, so we're not experienced at all. So there's so many things, the ins and outs of DJing that I have no idea about. So how we started is like, look, we made a list and we played 1 through 20, whatever, straight down the line. So if anything happened, we were screwed because we didn't know how to adapt to situations. Luckily, everything went right. And he came in, we switched, and yeah, we were excited. Like it worked. Everything was cool. We got through it. We're excited. Cool. And he had mentioned about that night that he might have open. So whatever, we didn't think nothing of it. And then sure enough, maybe we prepared like if we were gonna get it. So I remember that text. He's like, "Hey, night is yours if you want it. January 30th. I mean, I'm sorry, December 30th, the day before New Year's Eve. Come on out." And we're excited. So again, we practiced and practiced and practiced. But remember, inexperience, we had to fill basically 2.5 hours, right? Like we straight through. There's only one DJ for the night. So we loaded like 80 to 100 songs
Yeah.
because we, again, not knowing how to adapt and like, you know, read the crowd, nothing. So we,
Yeah, that's 80 to 100 songs, but in order. So like they were all strategically put in a
so if
specific
something
spot.
didn't work, we didn't know how
Yeah.
to fix it.
We didn't know we if yeah, it was just really a wing and a prayer. Like if it didn't work, yeah, there was nothing we could do, because we almost over prepared in that sense, right? Like we have that list and it's do or die with that list.
And
Um,
this is part of the evolution of like of a DJ that you must learn, grow, at least, if you're going to really do this. You need to learn in it and from all these experiences and get better. And we feel like obviously we did. So, but we prepared, we started the night, and everything went good, man. It was a good night. It
yeah.
was People were feeling it, they were into it. And yeah, we ended on such a high, like such a high note. We were so excited. We're like, that's the night we felt like we're DJs. Like
Yeah.
we've proven we are DJs. We can do this. Awesome. And mind you, it was a paying gig. They paid us, and people may not think it's a lot, but let me tell you, like that's the most money we've made. They pay you $75 a night plus a $50 bar tab. So
You better believe we use that.
so it was a good night.
It was a good night. It was a night where I just remember, like you said, the first night where I really felt like, man, we're really doing this, and just because we were able to see people react to pretty much everything we played,
Yeah.
so it was a really cool night. Really cool night.
Yeah, um, so we end the night and we get hit up again by EJ saying like, "Hey, I got another night. If you guys can cover for me," and we're like, "Yeah, of course." And we're like, "Hey, maybe we can be residents here, whatever." Um,
Our mind started to wander a little bit.
yeah, I mean, but that's the inexperience. So again, we prepare the same way. We're ready to go. And you have to learn again as a DJ. there's different there's just different elements to it. You have to be ready for anything. And the experience was that's what it was. And it was we tanked. Like it was just a bad night. It was a bad night. Now, mind you, take into account it is not a dance club. It is not like geared toward that, right? So that plays into a part into it. But mind you, we couldn't, even if we didn't know how to fix it. So dude, we had an empty dance floor.
Yeah,
People
it
came
was
in, they
just
heard.
the complete opposite of the first night. It was just nothing worked. Every song we played, just yeah, no reaction or nobody there to react, which is even worse. So
Yeah, because they
yeah.
would come in. I remember they would come in like, and then bail out. And I remember the manager was there, and every time he came,
Oh God.
I honestly thought he was gonna pull us off. But he
Yeah.
just kept kind of like trying to give us direction. Oh, probably try to play this. The thing is, again, we want to be dance DJs, and the thing is, there's so many people don't realize there's different DJs, right? There's mobile DJs, there's hip hop DJs, there's dance DJs, and there's open format DJs. What basically you play what whatever the people want.
Which
Um,
is what I thought he thought we were.
and that's not what we want. We wanted to be dance music DJs. So,
Yeah.
but again, we kept going, and those 2.5 hours seemed forever. He never pulled us off. We kept going, and
And I think he was just being a nice guy there because I mean we probably should have been pulled off. Like I think I remember um, just thinking to myself like it's the only time I've ever felt like, man, I want to stop playing. because
Yeah.
that's how uncomfortable it was. Like, you know, and the anxiety was building that
Yeah.
it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable.
It was bad. And he still paid us. For me, I was like, nah, man, like I don't feel like we delivered what you wanted. We don't deserve to get paid. And he's like, nah, take it. Look, this is how it goes. It's okay. Like, we'll work and we'll figure it out. Like, and he was encouraging about it. But that night is when I realized, like,
Yeah,
this
dude,
is
that
why
night
we're
sucked.
gonna where we're not gonna be here. Mind you, later they still wanted to work with us. They wanted us to
Yeah.
come back, but you have to realize what you want. And from the beginning, we know what we've always wanted. So, we appreciate the opportunity. It was a great experience. But yeah, we decided not to take it. And but we learned. I figured, you know what? Like, to get where we want to get to, I was like, we're not going to go to where we want until we start to learn how to produce music as well. I knew that was the game as well. So after that, we took basically 2018 off. Um, because I just dove into producing and learning how to produce, learning the system, learning the software, and just every night out. I mean, I'm still learning, so it's a lot of work that goes into it.
But yeah,
Finally,
I think that the whole 2018 off, a lot of people assumed, like, I remember friends and family would ask me, like, hey, you guys still do that? Just because we weren't really doing much other than, like, well, not
just a
doing
bit
much, I
basic.
guess, where they could see it, like at shows and things like that. Like, we weren't really promoting any other than our mixes. And the rest of the time, it was really, like you said, working on producing. Um, obviously you got on that and really took off with that, and then it was also just getting better as DJs.
Yeah,
Just keep practicing and keep learning and things like that, so
yeah.
it
We
took a
never
while.
stopped. I mean, I know people probably thought we quit, but it was still every weekend. It was
Yeah, it
still
was every
putting
week.
in work, putting in work, putting in work. And then so we got to a point where I said, okay, I think I'm comfortable enough to work on producing and do our DJing part. So I said, let's get back out there. So I remember you kind of mentioned, why don't we check out LA? And I was like, I don't know, man, that's a big scene. Like, I don't know if we're ready for that. But he said, well, what's the worst that can happen, right? We've already heard no before, so let's go. We did, and we went to the big three, our academy. At the time it was Create, I think still.
I think so. I think it was still Create.
But it's Academy, Exchange, and Avalon. So we kept going to Academy, we kept going to Exchange, back and forth, trying to get people's information. We did, just kind of trying to get any kind of opportunity, and it wasn't happening. So then we finally said, well, let's go check out Avalon. Like, we haven't checked there. We went to Avalon, met no one. Then I finally was able to find a contact, reached out. Sure enough, man, like probably like a week later, they were like, sure, you want to try because we wanted to try the side stages. All these clubs have side stages. We know how the main stage works. It's a whole different ball game. But so we knew, okay, let's just get our foot in the door and do side stages. And I remember getting that email like, well, we got this date available if you want it. And we were like, what? All right. So
Yeah.
sure enough, January 2019 is when that happened, and right back to being super nervous because this was it. This was LA, this was Hollywood, this was dance club, world, DJ's top 100 clubs in the world. So it's like these people know and how to respond to dance music. So we're prepared, and I remember our first gig.
Well, we were prepared as much as we could
Yeah,
because
right.
we had never played on CDJs.
No.
And even though I think one of the first things they asked is if we had experience on CDJs, which we lied and we said, yeah, sure. But in our minds, we knew, like, dude, we had never touched them. So, yeah, all we had was the Pioneer XDJ RX, and which one of the reasons we got that one was because we had read that it's similar to CDJs and it'd be a easier transition, but that wasn't really enough to kind of bank on. So we ended up hitting the local guitar center, and yeah, just to kind of get a feel for it, even though like it was kind of like all messed up equipment in there. But yeah, that's what we did.
But that's just you gotta be resourceful, man. Like, if you want to be successful at anything, you know, you can't have the excuses, well, I don't got this money and I can't do this nah, man, you like everybody starts from zero. So you gotta make way of whatever way you can. And we're like, hey, whatever, man, we're gonna go to Guitar Center and we're gonna see if we can kind of figure out, get a quick little glimpse so that we don't go into the club like not knowing anything.
Yeah.
So, come the night, they gave us a whole our first promotion, little, art and
Fire, yeah. It was cool to
and
see our name on it.
so
Like, all right,
it was
cool.
cool. And the whole, setup, and come the night you drive in LA, like the whole experience is awesome, nerve-wracking, and
Yeah.
then it's your turn. So we jump on there, and yeah, man, like it was nerve-wracking, but it was a good night. It was a good
Yeah.
night. People responded. It was fun. But every performance you should learn, and we learned a lot from that too. And I feel every time it just catapulted us more to being better DJs. And yeah, so that was like our first official like gig in LA at Avalon, for giving us that opportunity. And so 2019 was a big year for us, because it started off there in Avalon, and we did about probably like 7 shows with them, and which led to more opportunities, getting our name out there. And you know we were able to meet other people, other production companies. Odyssey came, we were able to meet them, and you know was great. We're growing with them as well. So 2019 had a lot.
Yeah.
And
We got a chance to actually play at Exchange.
right,
That was cool. Playing
we were able to get there too. And so 2 of the big 3 in LA we've played at. We're still hoping to play at Academy one day. But
yeah,
Exchange.
get on it, guys.
So Exchange was another big deal for us, and it was just
Yeah,
it
Exchange
was
was
great.
dope. I remember, yeah.
So
And it's just like it was just a good year, man. Like we got to meet a lot of good people, all different DJs, and I think it was for the first time like we kind of saw that community, where we met other DJs who are going through some of the things that we're going through and understand the game, So it was kind of cool to find that, like, other because before that it was just basically we just had us. So 2019 was cool, We met a lot of cool people.
yeah, and so that's where we're at now. Obviously, like I was able to produce a couple songs, remixes, and that's going to be a long, thing too. So I'm getting better at doing that. So, look out for new music coming, and different remixes I'll always be trying to put out. Um, so yeah, man, I mean that's where we're at. It's gonna be long journey. It's tough, but you know we're this is our dream, so we're gonna chase it till forever.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole origin of Tri-City right there. This is episode 1. Look out for more episodes coming, uh, with special guests and mixes. Uh, Granted, this wasn't our ideal situation. We were supposed to do it in the same room. Everything's going to be a lot better later, but obviously due to the quarantine and the coronavirus, everybody's stuck at home. So we'll see how we do things. We're hoping to, wait till we can have people in, my home studio, and have them be guest mix, do the guest mixes here, and do the interviews after. So we'll see how we go from there. But until then, me and Renee will probably continue to do this part, and get these, like I said, episodes out to you guys. So hope you guys liked it. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.